There are 193 countries in the United Nations today. Of these, one has been singled out as an especially egregious offender of the organization's mandate to preserve and enhance human freedom and tolerance. Can you guess which it is? It has about 7 million citizens, of whom a fifth are Arab. The government is vibrantly democratic, its press wide open, and religious freedom fully respected. Women have equal rights and gays live openly. The answer is Israel.
On October 14th, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, published a document that contained a polemic resolution about the religious panorama of the holy sites inside the Old City of Jerusalem. The statement was released after the representatives of each country voted about circumstances that included the treatment of Israel authorities to Muslim devotees, the historical property of the city, and the sovereignty of Palestine. The opinions were split into two main different perspectives: the one that supports the idea that Islam is the only proprietor of these sites, and the one that recognizes the Judeo-Christian religious bonds with Jerusalem. The conflict between Palestine and Israel arises from 1948, with the massive Jewish migration as a consequence of the end of World War II. Although the Arab groups in the region tried to respect the different traditions of the Jewish population, the ambition to reacquire the political power of the territory caused several sociocultural altercations that last until our days. As it was said before, on October 14th, UNESCO presented the ultimate polemic resolution about the status of the holy sites inside the Old City, in which the organization condemned the violation of human rights related to freedom of religion or beliefs and recognized the Palestinian cultural heritage of the region. The official document encouraged the respect to the different ethnic groups, minorities, majorities, and religions that are linked to this place. However, the systematic use of the Arab names of the sacred places of Jerusalem provoked a feeling of resentment in Judeo-Christian devotees, as well as the disagreement of Israel and its supporters. This event took a dramatic turn when Israel decided to stop its cooperation with UNESCO. Since then, two different points of view have emerged. One of them is the opposition to the resolution that includes Israel, United States of America, Great Britain, Germany, Lithuania, the Netherlands, and Estonia. These countries support Israel not only because of their political and economic relation with this country, but also because of the opinion of Christians and Jews that disagree with what they have described as a clear denial of the relation of these religious groups with the holy sites of the Old City. In fact, some specialists believe that the unconditional support of UNESCO to Palestine in previous resolutions questions its credibility in a process that could be led by the Palestinian government in order to acquire their international legitimization. On the other hand, there are the supporters of the resolution, which include Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, Tunisia, Cuba, Kuwait, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Angola, countries with a high amount of Muslim devotees that also have had territorial or military conflicts with Israel. Some of the arguments of these countries include that Israel uses physical violence against Muslims and constantly discriminates Arab communities because of their cultural and religious background. But is that the only problem? No. By researching about this resolution, we found out some interesting facts. 1. We were able to read the definite resolution when UNESCO published it in its official webpage. Nevertheless, when we tried to consult the document again, it was not available anymore. 2. The information that the media distributes is usually manipulated according to their point of view, making the understanding process even more difficult for the reader, listener, or viewer. We found three sources with different information and points of view. The first is Hispan TV Noticias, an Irani TV program that supports the resolution. Our second source is Milenio, a Mexican neutral newspaper, and our third source is Jerusalem Dateline, a TV program that supports Israel. The first idea that appears in each source is that Israel has annulled its cooperation with UNESCO, while Hispan TV Noticias considers this Israeli action as anti-cooperative. Millennium newspaper and Jerusalem Dateline present a more conservative posture, though the second one mentions that the opposition to the resolution has to do with the possible Palestinian strategy to delegitimize the State of Israel. The second main idea has to do with the bonds of the Old City with Judaism and Christianity. In this case, Hispan TV Noticias avoids this idea as it would be counterproductive for their argumentation. On the contrary, Jerusalem Dateline takes this as its principal idea, sustaining its arguments with some examples.
Also the place where David was made king of Jerusalem, of Israel, and where Jesus overturned the money changers' booths at the temple, and also where Satan tempted Jesus.
Likewise, Millennium mentions that Israel and the countries that support it found that the document denies the historical and religious bonds of the Old City to Judaism and Christianity, even though that conjecture is not literally written in the resolution. The third idea that is presented in the three sources is the relation of Palestine with the statement. From this to the next ideas, the sources promote even more their opinion, except from Millennium. Hispan TV shows to us a Palestine that has been always discriminated by Israel. In contrast, Jerusalem Dateline considers that the Palestinian effort to establish Jerusalem as their capital and their support to the resolution represent steps to justify the creation of their state. As shown in the other examples, Millennium is very critical and only remarks that the document recognizes the Palestinian cultural heritage. The next parameter of comparison is the importance of the resolution in the achievement of regional peace, in which each source has its very own importance. Our first source recognizes the resolution as a pacific document that was necessary to stop the abuse of Israel to international rights. The second one describes that UNESCO's resolution principal intention was to request Israel to cease continuous excavations near to the entrance of Al-Aqsa Mosque. Our third source quotes Mark Kirk and Marco Rubio, that are politicians from United States, who say UNESCO's disturbing trend of attacking Israel does nothing to promote peace. The last idea that we identified is the influence of Israel and the United States in Jerusalem and the Middle East. The reporter Leila Tahaldin from Hispan TV called Israel and the United States genocidal countries that violate cultural and religious rights.
Y una condena real sobre lo que ha sido la constante violación del derecho de culto, pero también de las libertades de culto por parte del pueblo palestino, que ha sido violado por el Estado genocida de Israel. Vuelve a quedar Israel como el principal violador de los derechos humanos y el Estado genocida de Israel y también otro genocida más como es Estados Unidos.
At that same time, Jerusalem Dateline only quoted that the Palestinian government recommended the United States to review their deals with Israel. In this category, the Mexican source refrained from criticizing the political decisions of these countries. It didn't support any side of this conflict, in which the opponents and supporters of the resolution used different information to support their points of view. We can conclude that we have to be very critical with the information that we receive from the media in order to understand all the components of a conflict and its magnitude. In this specific case, the insufficient official information and its manipulation has aggravated the situation. We think that cultural and religious tolerance in Israel is higher than the political tolerance, and we believe that to solve this problem, it is important to look forward and to learn from historical mistakes. We are sure that with the correct education and time, the new generations will be able to forget the resentment of past wars and will learn to live together in the Holy Land.